Good morning, everyone. Just a quick sound check to make sure that I don't boomer it again today. I hope everybody is having an amazing Wednesday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you are and whenever you are watching. Thank you for checking out the 6-Minute Daily. We have a pretty big show, a lot of things to cover here in a very short period of time. It's very Netflix heavy, as I've said in the chat. I want to say thank you to all of you who have joined early, and for those of you who get to make sure that my sound okay and I'm not a mute for a while. I seem to think that that's kind of funny for most people, but it's nice to do it properly from time to time. Guys, I really appreciate everybody being here, and let's go ahead and get started. So our first story, of course, is going to be Netflix is going to spend about $17 billion on content in 2021. This is up about $6 billion overall from the previous year. There's a lot of reasons for this. They need to create even more originals and have more original programming because they are continually losing the licensing deals to carry different products from different organizations, studios, etc., because they are launching their own streaming services, so the pressure becomes more and more. I think the plan originally was by 2025 to spend about $25 billion a year on content, all the original shows and series and so on and so forth. But it's pretty interesting, and their stock prices have been very interesting as well. But there's some other news to go along with Netflix, of course. Netflix is actually going to start really cracking down on password sharing. They have been trying to work on this for a while. They don't want to quote unquote tighten the screws on consumers, but this was part of a bunch of Netflix news that came out yesterday throughout the day. In fact, this was late in the afternoon yesterday. It came on the heels of the close of business. Now, Netflix had a pretty decent year as far as earnings, which we'll get into in just a second, but they really do need to figure out a way to get more people to pay for their services. And the problem is that I think Netflix and all the streaming services realize is that they're in a position where people can only afford so much, and you still want eyeballs on your content. So I guess we'll see what happens from there. Moving on from that, Netflix is actually considering getting into video games at this point. They are trying to chase after the China corporations like Tencent and stuff like that, and also some of the make an impact on the U.S. market. So they're looking at that. This was part of a conversation with CEO Reed Hastings and Fidelity Management Manager Nidhi Gupta. So we'll have to see where this lands, but it would be interesting to see them get into this business. I mean, cloud gaming is a thing, guys, and with the launch of, or soft launch of the Luna from Amazon, which I actually have. I haven't used it yet, but a lot of companies are going to try to get into this market. It's worth an awful lot of money. So Netflix kind of sees that as a future way of doing even more business than they do already. And since it's Netflix and Amazon at the top of the streaming list, they're going to be direct competitors for a long time to come. Finally, The Witcher and You and Cobra Kai are all coming back in Q4 of 2021. So we should see the launch of all of these series. So that gives us kind of a timetable. I imagine they'll each get to own a month, because if I were Netflix, that's how I would go about doing it. I would also play with the idea of a weekly release with some of this stuff and not drop it all at once. We'll see what happens with that, but I think that's the smartest way to go about things. So at least in my opinion. And finally, this is a thing I was talking about. This is something that we've talked about in the business world all the time, is the performance and earnings. Now, their performance was down because Netflix missed their Q1 subscriber targets. Of course, they're blaming the issues with the global pandemic, except that's counterintuitive, right? There was a lot of people at home. A lot of more people are going to sign up for this kind of a thing. But their financial forecasts, they beat. So on one hand, less subscribers, probably additional churn. And on the other hand, you have the performance of it overall as far as financially. So they're making it up in one way, but losing it in another. And I think you're going to see a price rise in most, if not all, of the major streaming services. Moving on from Netflix, Roku is going to be rebranding the Quibi shows that they purchased as Roku Originals. This isn't a surprise. We talked about this just a few weeks ago when Roku went out and bought the Quibi catalog. And I think it's a smart thing to do, since they're going to actually own this content. From there, this is one of the last things we're going to cover today because we're running out of time, but Masterson is actually accusing Leah Remini of influencing people to come forward about him being bad to people and raping them. So, and he's in a lot of trouble if they actually get a successful prosecution, because as you can see here, 45 years in prison. Doesn't sound like a party to me. And I think we can just do the very last thing here, which is Hollywood's wall of silence on Scott Rudin beginning to crack. He's stepping away from a lot of A24 projects, a lot of stuff on a lot of shows, in addition to a lot of course, that's theaters, but he's also stepping away from productions, and they're going after his money men, trying to get them to talk about some of his bad behavior, which I guess they're trying to Weinstein him, which I understand. Anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. Don't forget, I've got a video dropping later today, and a lot of cool things that I'm going to be participating in with, obviously, Street Smart. So you can check that on Mad Mardigan. Anyway, thank you all. Have a super great day. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, and until next time, bye. Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.